Okay, so here we are with the Otter kit. So real quick, for those who requested the Otter kit, I did not intend for it to take this long to make this. Two things happened. Number one, I moved many states away, and that took some time. Also, during that time, my laptop broke, and I had to get a new one, and it was a whole thing. So, here we are. Now, I have already done this beginning once. So here's my original skein and the rest of the things from the kit. The camera angle was not right, so I had to take it out. And we're going to redo it. So my yarn is going to be a little fuzzier, but I did notice that this yarn was sort of a very fuzzy yarn when you touch it, which is probably going to look cute, but it's annoying a little bit to deal with. So here we go. So we are going to be chaining one and working in rounds, which means at the end of every round, we're going to join with a slip stitch and we're going to chain. I should get stitch markers maybe, but this is color A, our gray yarn, and we're going to start on the body. So I find it easier to pull the yarn. I had done it with this one from the center. You reach your fingers in, you find the center piece and pull it out, rather than using the one outside, because then it is, as it unravels, it's easier and your skein's not all flopping around. But it wants us to chain 2, do 6 single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and join, which is a pretty standard beginning. A lot of times I prefer to do magic circles, but this time we're gonna do the chain 2 just because I feel like it. So we're gonna take our yarn. This is the tail over on this side. This will be our working yarn. And there's a lot of ways to make a slip knot. I just bring my tail around my thumb, then take my working yarn through the loop, pull the tail, tighten, slip knot. That's all I do. Then tighten that down onto your hook a little, not too tight. And then we will chain 2. So to chain, you want to press your hook back against your yarn, catch it with the hook. So this is yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook for 1 chain. Do the same thing again. So with the yarn behind your hook starting, yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook, chain 2. Now, 6 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. This is the loop on our hook. We do not count that in this situation. This here, get out of the way, is the first chain from our hook here. This is the second chain from our hook here. It's, in this case, the first chain we started with. We're going to do 6 single crochet into the same spot, one after the other. So not this loop here, but under this loop here, we're going to insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. So there's 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook for 1 single crochet. Now, if you're using stitch markers, place one now into this stitch here to mark where you come back. If you are new, I would definitely recommend using stitch markers. But if you don't have them, we can figure it out. So now into the same hole again here. You can see that hole, hopefully. Insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook. And I tighten down a little bit each time. I just pull a little. So that's 2 single crochet. So now we're gonna insert same, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook for 3, okay, 4, 5, 6. Now, I usually prefer magic circles because in a magic circle, the tail, you can pull it and it'll close the hole. But what we're going to do is we're just going to weave this end in and use it to close it a little bit. So now we're going to count back to show you where we're going to join. So again, this is the loop on our hook. We don't count that. Each one of these little sets of V's, this little V here, is the top of a crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 here. This is where your stitch marker would be if you placed one. Now, as you can see, it kind of, you have to kind of rotate to the side. That'll, like this one's standing up kind of straight, but then they go diagonal. So don't work like into these two and think that's your stitch. You got to find that nice V. So I'm going to join to our first single crochet here. Here's my first loop. Now, like I said, this yarn is a little fuzzy. It might be a little harder to see, especially since in my case, I've used this section once. But we're going under this one and under this one to join. So I'm going to slip under both of those. And then we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. And then we're going to pull that loop right through the loop on our hook. And that's a slip stitch to join. Now, later, once we have some more width to this, we'll come back and weave that end in. So now we're going to chain 1. And we are going to do 2 single crochet in each stitch around, which is a pretty standard increase round. So every time now we come back around, we're going to join to the first single crochet of that round. And we will have a join and a chain that we're not going to work into. And I'll show you that when we get back around. But it's, when I first started, I sort of thought of it as kind of like skipping 2 or skipping 1.5. It's not really what you're doing, but it sort of helped me remember not to just work into them. So we're gonna, starting with the stitch we just joined to, we're gonna do 2 single crochet in each stitch around. So I'm gonna go under the 2 loops of this stitch, both loops. I'm gonna yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops on my hook. And then I'm gonna go into the same spot again and do the same thing again for our second. So this is 2. If you're using a stitch marker, place it in that first stitch there and do that each time. Move it, you know, to the, or if you want to leave them there, if you have enough, you can use them to count your rows later. But mark your first stitch. So we're going to continue doing this and 2 in each stitch around. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And since we had 6 stitches and we're doing 2 in each stitch around, that means 12 means we've worked our way around. And it'll tell you at the end that you're supposed to have 12 stitches. So now here we are. And like I said, this may look like a stitch you're supposed to work into, but this is our slip stitch to join from the previous round. This little sideways guy here is our chain 1. So we don't work into this or this. This is our first single crochet. Now, if you have it marked with a stitch marker, that'll be much easier, and this won't really be a necessary explanation. But we're going to slip stitch to this first stitch here. We're going to slip stitch to this first stitch right here, like so. Yarn over and pull that through the loop on our hook, like that. Now we're going to continue increasing, but we're going to do it in a more gradual way now. So we'll do our chain 1. Now this next instruction has brackets. So with brackets, you're going to have an instruction inside the bracket. In this case, single crochet in the next stitch, 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 6 times. So you're going to just repeat these instructions around. So single crochet in the first stitch, and then in the second stitch we'll do 2 single crochet, and then in the third stitch we'll do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then in the fourth 2 single crochet in the next, and we'll just repeat that around. So you can count this a lot of different ways. I like to take them as a set sometimes. So in this case I would maybe count like 1 and then 2, 3, and keep going around. So in our first stitch here, we're just going to do 1 single crochet, same one that we joined to, same one we just went into. So single crochet 1, this is where you'd place your stitch marker, and then in the next, single crochet 1, single crochet 2, and then we'll continue that around. So 1, then 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, one thing you want to be just generally mindful of, aside from throwing your yarn on the floor, is when you are increasing, which is what we're doing, when you do 2 stitches in 1 stitch, now you have 2 tops to work into where you only had 1 before. Depending on how you're holding your work and your yarn, the second crochet can kind of stretch out and cover the next stitch that you're going to work into, so that you can't really see it, and cause you to skip ahead to the next one. It's a common thing, I think, for new beginners. So just be mindful of that. I try to keep it kind of standing outwards, you know, so that I can see that, and so that I'm not covering it like that. What was I on? I was on 2. 1. See, I split that. If you split, just slip your hook out, pull it out, do it again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I do find this yarn, by the way, to be kind of slippery. 1. I think that's to do with the fuzziness. It's a little bit harder to hold on to than some of the other kits. 2. Okay, so now we're supposed to have 18 stitches. This is our slip stitch to join. We are not working into that. This is our chain 1. We are not working into that. So starting here, right here, we're going to count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So we're going to join to our single crochet, which is where your stitch marker would be if you were using one, with a slip stitch. Okay. Now we are going to do similar, except this row, chain 1, we are going to do single crochet in the next 2. So 1 single crochet in this one, 1 single crochet in this one, and then an increase. INC is increase, which is 2 single crochet in this one. And we're going to repeat that around. So I'll just demonstrate that the once, and then I'll turn this off and finish it out. So 1 single crochet in the first, 1 single crochet in the second, 2 single crochet. So you could count this 1, 2, 3, 4, or however you like, or 1, 2 increase. So I will continue that now, single crochet, increase all the way around, and then I'll be back for the join. I'm back sooner because I remembered something. I would especially if you are new and are going to be possibly having to get up and walk away and do things. Definitely get a pen and mark your rows as you go. Or if you don't want to mark up the pattern, just get like a paper and write them down as you go so you can remember where you are. You can count, which I can show you. But it's easier if you've been keeping track. So this center circle here is our round 1. So then that's this circle here. So then this circle, here's 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're on round 4 right now. And also, there's a right side and a wrong side to your work. So this is our right side facing us. This is our wrong side. Our right side is what's going to be showing on the outside, and our wrong side will be usually what's on the inside. So if you walk away and like put your yarn down and then come back, in this case it's a little more obvious. Although if you had just joined, it would be the same level. So let's finish this out. What was I doing? That's a 2. So 1, 2, that's a 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And another thing when you're working with intervals, you should always end on the second part of the bracket unless otherwise stated. So a lot of times, if you end up in your last stitch doing what you're supposed to be doing, which in this case is 2, you're probably good for your count, but I usually like to check anyway. So here's our slip stitch. Here is our chain 1. So we're joining up here, like so. So if you put your yarn down at this point and, walked away and came back, it's possible to, if you're new, to flip. Now in this case, we still have our tail. So that's kind of a given at this point. But I am going to weave that in. But it is important, you can sort of learn to tell just by looks, but it is important to make sure you're working in the correct direction. So if you do walk away and come back and you're not sure, you're not positive, just slip that out and undo the slip, and then you'll see which direction you were going. Anyway, next row is going to be again similar. So chain 1, this time it's going to be single crochet in the next 3 and then an increase. So, let's do a count. So I have slip stitched to the first stitch of the round, right? This is my chain, this is my join. So this is my first stitch, this is my last stitch. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, join, chain, which is what we want to have. So single crochet in the next 3. So here in the first that we joined to, 1, 2, 3, then increase, 4, 5. So now I'm going to continue that around, and be back after that. Okay, so here we are at the end of this row. Here is my join and my chain. Here's my first single crochet, so we're going to join to that. Now you will have, because of the method that we're using to join this, to join in the chain, you'll have this little ridge that shows your join. That's fine. That's going to be there. You're not doing anything wrong. If that place looks funky, it's going to look funky, and you can feel it too. And I guess now's probably a good time to weave this end in. So normally, like I said, I like to do a magic circle because that hole, which this yarn is so fuzzy, it's making the illustration more difficult, but that hole there is smaller. You can actually make it just go away. But we're gonna weave this in. Before we forget. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna thread it on this needle and just sort of go around, weave it under stitches in sort of a circle. And then I'll just tie the end off and then weave that end in a little more. So I'm just gonna say slip under here. Doesn't matter a whole lot right now. And then back down under the next one. Tighten down. So now not as bad. So we're just going to pull that tight and then go through a nearby stitch. I'm going to hold this part of the loop so that this doesn't accidentally get pulled all the way through. Then I'm just going to tie that down. And just to sort of secure it in place and have it not be annoying, I'm going to weave this end through. And because it's getting kind of short, I'm just going to sort of weave my needle in first and then put the thread through. Okay. And now I guess I'll trim this. So it's less annoying. Okay, so now we are single crochet in the next 4 increase. So same concept. 1 in the first single crochet, 1 in the next 3, so single crochet in 4, 3, 4, then 5, 6 in here, and repeat that around. Now if you're doing this, and this is just a thing it's good to be able to spot, if you look closely, you can tell from looking where your increases are versus your single crochets. So just looking at it, we have the openings. It's harder to tell with this yarn because it's fuzzy, but the openings are just a little bit bigger. They look like little windows to me, or like little hills. So see this one, you can see decently compared to this one. This one's rather small. But if you hold it up and look at it, these lines coming down, 2 of those are 1 single crochet. So if, you know, and you have the top of your stitch is what's running through here, the V inside there. So this one has 2 sets of those 2 lines. So this one has 2 single crochet in it, right? Whereas this one here, this is because this is where it connects, this is where it connects. This only has 1 single crochet. This is 1 single crochet, right? And then, well, that's our join. But now here to here, we have 2. So that's 2 single crochet. So I can just sort of just point to them myself, like, because I've been doing this a while, so I can see them visually. And they're a little bit thicker. You can also kind of feel them. But anyways, that's a thing. That's good to know to help with counting if you lose track of where's the last time I did an increase. That can help you figure that out without having to take everything out. So now I'm going to finish out this row, and then I will be back. Okay, here we are at the end of this row. Here's our previous join and chain. So we're going to slip stitch to this here. Now our next chain one, our next set of instructions is for a couple of rows we're going to single crochet and each stitch around. So we're going to do a stitch count before that so that we don't do all those rows and then have to take them out. So this is our join, this is our chain, so we're not going to count either of those, but starting with this guy here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36. So we want to have 36. That's good. This is join and chain. Now for rows 7 through 9, so 7, 8, and 9, if you want, you can write 7, 8, 9, and then cross them off as you go. That's what I normally do. We're just going to single crochet and each stitch around, which we actually haven't done yet in this pattern, but that's pretty simple. So you just single crochet here in the first stitch, and one in the second, and the third, and the fourth, and you just one single crochet in every stitch around. Now at this point our work will start to curl more toward us since we're not increasing anymore, and I am just going to encourage it to curl back the other way because this is our right side facing us. This is the side we want out, so it needs to curl the other way for the shaping. And just gonna do this all the way around, and at the end we'll still have our join and our chain 1 to not work into, and it'll be exactly the same for rows 8 and 9. So your stitch count should stay the same during this time. So the way our laptop was damaged was my husband was in an accident and our truck was totaled. The laptop was in it, and it was a pretty big accident and very dangerous. And my husband was fine, and the first responders and all that just couldn't believe that he was in the truck that had crashed. But I just thank God that he protected him, and that it wasn't much worse, and really just give him the glory for that. So this is our join, this is our chain. We're just gonna join to this first single crochet, and that is single crochet, neat stitch around. So from now on, rows that are single crochet, neat stitch around, I'll just do them off camera. So rows 8 and 9, don't forget your chain 1. I will do those and be back. Okay, so we're coming up on the end of row 9, and one other thing I wanted to point out is if you're not using stitch markers, just be careful that you don't, you know, if you're doing something else, watching a show or whatever, that you don't just keep right on working and working the round without joining. So if you're not using a stitch marker, make sure you pay attention and look for that little bump up so that you know where your row ends. So here we are at the end of row 9. I'll join to our first single crochet here, like so, and do a row count real quick. So, and here again is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a stitch count. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, join and chain. So, moving right along. Row 10. So we're going to introduce the decrease now, which is 2 single crochet together in this row. So we've chained 1, chain 1, single crochet in the next 12, and then in brackets, single crochet 2 together, SC2 TOG, which is a decrease. And then we have 6 times outside of our brackets. So we're going to do 12 single crochet. Then in a row, we're going to do 6 single crochet 2 together, which will cover 12 stitches. And then after we do that, we will single crochet in the next 12 stitches again. So starting here in our first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now a decrease. So a decrease is 1 single crochet worked over 2 stitches of your previous round. So we are going to start a single crochet as normally. So we're going to insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. And then we're going to insert under the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. We now have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. That is 1 decrease. Where we had 2, we now only have 1. So one thing to watch out for in decreases, I said when you're doing increases, sometimes the fact that that second crochet is kind of leaning out this way can sort of cover your next stitch, while decreases are the opposite. Decreases tend to lean the other way, and it can look like this is a full stitch, and this is where you would place your hook next here. It is not. If we look closely, we can see our 2 little loops. Well, hopefully you can. Our 2 little loops worked into it. This is not the stitch we're going to work into. We're going to work into this one. Now, another thing you want to be mindful of is, since you're reaching like so, you don't want your loops to become loose from the fact that you're reaching, because then, like, if I have to pull this out like that, how I'm holding this like this, that stitch will be bigger than my other ones. We want stitches same size, so that when I complete this, it's kind of got this looser spot and this hole, right? You're gonna have a little bit of a hole anyway, and that's okay, but you want to try to keep this tightened down, and I try to sort of bring it in front so that this doesn't get pulled out. And yarn over, so we're making our second decrease, so insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook, and you can see that that's a smaller spot there, so that's 2. So we're going to go again for 3 into this spot here, so yarn over, pull up a loop, insert into the next, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook for 3, insert under the next, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert under the next, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, pull through all 3 loops for I think 4, then 5, 6. Okay, and the same thing goes for like your first crochet after a decrease, both for making sure you don't get tricked and working into there, and also for trying to keep that loop smaller. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and there is our join and chain from the previous round. So I'll join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet. Okay, so just like you can recognize increases, you can recognize decreases, I think, more easily. So here we have our single crochets, and here now they take this sort of horizontal look, this bar here. That's how you can recognize. So decrease, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then back to our normal crochet. So they get this kind of almost horizontal. They're also thicker and you can feel them. So that was our decrease round. So now we should have 30 stitches. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. And now 11 and 12 are both chain 1 and single crochet and 8 stitch around, so I will be back after I complete those. Okay, so here we are, the end of row 12. We're looking pretty good. Now row 13, we're back to a decrease. So this time we're going to single crochet in the next 11, decrease 4 times, single crochet in the next 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So now we will do our decreases. So it'll cover 8 stitches in total because we're doing 4 decreases. So here we go, insert under the first, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert under the second, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on the hook for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 11. Okay, so we'll slip stitch here, and then single crochet in each stitch around, and then we're going to have a couple more decrease rows, but I'm not going to really show those all the way around. I'll just do like the first interval. I'm going to finish it off camera, so I'm going to single crochet in each stitch around, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've chained 1. We're on round 15 now. I'm gonna, oh, I remember this from last time. Okay, so this round 15, there's 2 round 15s in my instructions. I don't know about yours. I don't know if you can see that. 15, 15. This one is not real. I have no idea why it's here or what it belongs to. If you have this one that says single crochet in the next 3 stitches, decrease, ignore that. That's not real. We don't want that. Which besides the fact it's missing a bracket in there anyway, so technically it's 2 typos, but we don't care because we don't need it. So here's our real round 15. So we chained 1. We're going to single crochet in the next 9 and then decrease 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 1 decrease, 2 decrease, 3 decrease. Oh, I split my loop there a little. I don't know if you can see that. That's supposed to be on my hook. There we go. We're on 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 4 decrease. Okay, so I'll finish out this row with the rest of the 9 single crochet, and then I will chain 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and I will be back after that. Okay, so let's do a stitch count, I guess. We just finished 16, so we should have 22. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Perfect. Now we are going to single crochet in the next 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, decrease 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then single crochet in the next 7. Okay, and then we are just going to have 18, 19, and 20. So 3 rounds of just single crochet in each stitch around, and then this body will be done. So I'll finish out this row, and then I'll just do those 3 rows and come back after. And then this first section will be done. So I'll be back. Okay, so here we are at the last round. So I'm going to join. Now normally this would still be attached to my ball of yarn. And what I would do is just, because you need to leave a tail for sewing, and I tend to be a little more generous with that than I need to be, but just as sort of a gauge, I tend to just kind of wrap loosely around 2 or 3 times. You really probably just need to do 2. And then I trim. And then after I've done that, I just pull this through, and that is our tail. So body should be about 4.5 inches, which looks like this is about, and shaped like an eggplant. So I think we're doing pretty good on that. And here is the body. So next time we will be starting on the head. I would start now, but this needs to charge a bit. So here's this. Hopefully the camera angle's better this time. I had my husband check it for me before I started. So hope this helps, and see you next time for the head.